Welcome to the Full Dive Gaming Podcast, your weekly, monthly, who knows, sometimes podcast for everything VR, the news, the games we're playing, what we're doing in it, and we're all here hanging out. I'm JayBratt, I'm a VR YouTuber.
I'm NatBratt, a VR enthusiast who is excited to talk about VR games today.
And I'm Assassin32, a VR YouTuber who's excited to talk about an upcoming collaboration we have today.
Ooh, we got all kinds of things to talk about.
Yeah.
But one thing we got to say thank you for real quick, Asterion Products. They've been here for us for years. They're actually doing a giveaway. It's more with the JayBratt channel than with the Full Dive, but they've supported Full Dive for years. So there'll be a link in the description, the comments. If you want to enter and win your own Quest 3, not a lot of people have entered so far, so the chances are pretty good. You should definitely check that out. And I feel like first things first, we got to talk about a little bit of news real fast before we talk about what we're up to. Hey, Assassin, is the Quest 4 canceled?
Maybe. I mean, yes and no, because they've already talked about this before, that they don't name a product and then build it. They build a product and then name it before it goes out. So they're not working on the thing they were working on.
Yeah, the thing that we believed was the Quest 4 was the Pismo, was the code name. The Pismo high and low, essentially like a Quest 3 and 3S. There's a high-end version and a low-end version. And all kinds of reports and everything had said they were dropping this 2026, probably at Connect like they usually do. That would put it, 3 years after the Quest 3 and 2 years after the Quest 3S. And then all of a sudden reports are coming out 2026, no Quest 4. They're most likely dropping a more AR style headset that is super lightweight, like 110 grams, which is like nothing. That's even a chunky pair of glasses can come in at that weight. That would be cabled up and tethered and have computation and battery power somewhere else. Almost kind of like an Apple Vision, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where all of this headset gaming is going. Everything's going to be wired with a puck and ultimately wireless. You're not attached to anything. It's just put it in your pocket and go.
I mean, you are attached.
Yes.
It's just on you instead of like somewhere else.
But doesn't it seem like this is where gaming has to go anyway? We all say that we want to be able to put on a comfortable set of glasses and be immersed in VR. And doesn't it seem like this is a step towards that?
That depends, because this headset sounds like it's more like AR, which doesn't mean not gaming, but it definitely does not sound like it's VR gaming. No, this is not fully immersive, locks you into a new world. This is more like multiple monitors style or 100-inch big screens anywhere you go with your Switch kind of stuff. This feels more like what we've already seen a little bit with AR glasses, but in at least a slightly more portable form. You know, you're no longer wiring up to a PlayStation or a PC, but you still have some pocket that they're hoping the puck will fit in your pocket. So who knows what the hell that means? Maybe it's
if you're a woman, you probably will have to wear like a fanny pack or something, because women's clothes typically or often don't have pockets.
Yes.
Or if they do, they're like teeny little pockets.
But I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing seems like it's painful that we're not getting Quest 4, because we've just started hearing people ask, hey, when's Quest 4 coming out? And there's just been a little bit of buzz, and then they kill it. But it seems like you kind of have to get through this phase to get where we all eventually want to be anyway. And yeah, this new thing is not a VR headset, but maybe it will lead to a VR headset.
Also, the Quest 3 is really good.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like there's a need for another one. I mean, it's always fun when we have like other ones out there, you know, improving and stuff, but like Quest 3 is really good.
Yeah.
There has to be some sort of new revolution in VR is what we need. Like, if they were to make a Quest 4 by next year, what would it honestly be? Maybe a slightly higher refresh rate, maybe a little better resolution. But pancake lenses were kind of like that last big thing that was like, this is going to change everything. And that's what the Quest 3 has. There's no battery revolution that's happened in the last year that makes us no longer need batteries. Cloud computing hasn't come far enough that we can pull off a headset that fully doesn't need any computational power built inside of it. So it's probably just a little premature. It's probably why they decided to either delay or even cancel, which is possible because they've got these other companies that are going to be making Quest style headsets now. Who knows?
And if one more year for a Quest 4 gets us eye tracking and higher fidelity and better graphics and a slimmer, lighter, more comfortable design, wait a year. That's okay. Quest 3 is really good.
It is.
Yeah, I agree. We're waiting to see what can come. Another year is probably the best. And I even had a video I dropped talking about this news, and somebody commented that when they saw this, they literally went out and bought a Quest 3 then. Because there's been people that have been like, oh, if a Quest 4 is coming next year, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. Now
Makes
it might
sense.
finally actually push some sales in the 3 because so many people were like holding out for a 4 maybe. And now it's like, no, you got at least 2 years before anything replaces the 3.
For 6 months, I've been seeing comments from people going, I think I'm going to wait for a Quest 4. And I'm
Not
going,
anymore.
You're going to wait 2 years for something that has a 3-year product life cycle? Just jump in. And if you're one of those people, honestly, just get it now and you can sell it for $50 less than you paid for it later on and then get the upgrade. But it doesn't really matter because we're not getting it.
And they're on sale right now.
Yeah.
All the headsets are on slight sales. I think there's like 30 off the Quest 3S and like 50 off the Quest 3. It's not a bad deal. So if you're out there and you're like, is the Quest 4 fully canceled? These are still kind of in the rumor mill. Don't take all this stock, but what it seems like is happening is they're at least delaying the Quest 4, or what we thought the Quest 4 was going to be, until 2027. They are dropping a totally different puffin codenamed some sort of AR lightweight tethered up headset that'll basically just be a pair of glasses with displays. Everything else will be wired up to something on your body somewhere else. And there's no for sure rumor that they never confirmed the Quest 4 completely, so they can't also fully cancel it, but it's kind of back into the void of, is this happening? Is it not? We don't know. All that we know is we have a Quest 3. It's pretty freaking good. And there's other headsets out there on sale that, maybe some of us have been spending a little more time with and kind of falling back in love with a different side of VR lately, which we can talk about. Was there anything else in the news that we wanted to touch on this week?
There was a couple of things, honestly. And so one of the things that kind of ties in with the possible canceling of the Quest 4 is that they're still licensing Horizon OS to other manufacturers. So we can still get headsets. It might not be a Quest 4, but it'll be coming from a different manufacturer.
So let's say next year there's an Asus ROG Quest that comes out that does have high tracking and has slightly higher fidelity, pancake lenses. It's, let's say, $750. Is that an upgrade from the Quest 3 that you're going for, or are you holding out for the Quest 4 at that point?
I would not pull the trigger on that.
And I think I would. The eye tracking would add so much potentially. It also takes up a lot of power, but man, you look at PSVR 2 and the eye tracking, when it's used well, can really make beautiful graphics.
That's true.
It can. The problem that will come to in the market is if they really were to do that, now developers once again have another feature that only certain headsets can have that they have to decide whether or not they want to support. And it was kind of the same situation with the Quest Pro. The very few games that actually used the Foveat rendering, it was like, wow, this looks incredible, but it was not every game. It didn't make the Quest Pro price tag any more palatable at the time, but it was really neat to see what it could do. It's just, we're in this point with VR where we get the new technology and they try the stuff and it's really amazing, but they're still weeding out what makes sense for a consumer and how much they want to pay for stuff. Yeah. So we're still a little ways out.
Yeah. And how to make it work within the game. I still say a lot of these VR experiences we get are developers figuring out how to develop for VR. And the first time is this 45-minute tech demo, and the second time you get a real game. That's what developers for Richie's Plank experience did. And then eventually came out with Max Mustard. And then eventually got delisted off the store completely.
I was going to say that. I bet you Richie's is still going to be by far the biggest selling, most money making thing that they ever did. And even if they make another full-fledged game after this, nothing is going to hold up to what Richie's Plank managed to pull off. That was crazy.
Yeah. Yep. Do you guys want to go through Shafedog's question?
Yes. Yeah. Let's do some Q&A. Let's see what the Discord's been asking. Let's see what people are looking for over there. Let's answer some questions before we start talking about what we game in. Shafe asked a minute back, this was specifically to me, and I don't remember answering this question. He says, now that you've hit 100K plus, achieved worldwide fame and domination, do you have any regrets? Which is a
good question.
Fairly loaded question.
It is.
It's hard to say. I definitely wouldn't say I have any regrets, because when you look back, you don't really know what decision got you to where you went and how you got there. When I look back at even my whole life, Nat and I were talking about this, and it's so weird how like one little decision, literally where we saw a nice place to live that was outside of the realm of where we wanted to live, but we knew the places, they were great deals, big spacious places. Moving there like set our life on this course to where we are now. And if we hadn't done that, who knows where life would have went. So it's hard to say that with the channel. I think that probably the biggest decision I made early on that was kind of, I don't even know if I'd say controversial. It was a big decision I had to come to personally, was Rec Room was really taking off, and I was doing some Rec Room stuff, and I saw this future where if I kept on that path, I would be a Rec Room channel. And when I started the channel, I said, I want to do what I want. I want it to be about VR, my love for VR, and I want to have the variety to be able to do whatever in the scene. And I knew if I stayed on Rec Room, I was going to be shoehorned into this Rec Room only direction, and stopping the Rec Room stuff, even though I loved playing it with the audience, we had a good time, I felt the channel slow down for quite a while after. And I watched other channels like Soul Fox come up like crazy because of playing Rec Room people. But as Rec Room has kind of devolved a little bit and people feel differently about it, I'm so glad I made that decision. And who knows, we might be at 200K, we might be at 300K, but I would be stuck in a very small box called Rec Room and a slightly bigger box still on the gaming side. But even then, for channels that got really heavy in Rec Room, like they had a little bit of success with I Am Cat or I Am Security because it kind of fit that same audience at the time. But I am glad I made the decision I made and that we have the channel that we have, because I like the variety. I like the people in our Discords. I like that there's a big age range in it. You know, I'm not catering to one specific demographic, but I think that at the time people were like, why are you pulling away from Rec Room when it's doing so well? Well, I just didn't want to be only a Rec Room channel.
Yeah. The thing is, we all do it. You drop a video that's a little different or out of the ordinary that you normally wouldn't do, and it does well. And then what happens is your next video, you're using a similar title, you're using a similar thumbnail, you're using a similar description and similar content. And over time, it doesn't do as well. There's people that just exploded with I Am Cat. And now they are pissed because I Am Cat is not what they want to be.
But how can you, go from all of a sudden you were getting 1,000 views video, now you're getting 100,000 views video. Yeah. How do you do that? And we felt that for a while. I would make videos and I was like, I know that if I had done a Rec Room, it would do so many more views, but it wasn't about the views. And I think that's what people need to remember if you're thinking about content creation. It needs to be what you want, or you're just going to turn it right back into the job you left to do something else.
So true. Yep. So true.
And with you and your channel, and specifically, like Nat is so understanding of you making that decision, because you could chase the temporary money and help your family, but you chose to take a different path. And Nat
in the long run, it is a good move because, well, like you said, it means you're still doing what you want. And it also, I think, is more sustainable, because it kind of rounds you out more to be able to do different things. And then if like that one thing you're doing isn't as popular anymore, you still have other things you can do. So, but it is, man, like YouTube, we're really at the mercy of the algorithm. So I really understand why people do that, because that's what the algorithm wants. So, and you really kind of have to do this balancing act of, if you're not going that route where you're like, okay, chasing the views, you have to go kind of back and forth to where like you're still, getting views, getting subscribers, whatever, but also doing what you want. Like you have to kind of do it in a very, I don't know, you have to really think about it. And that's tough.
I think it makes a lot of sense to vary things up a little bit, because even the game you love today, you might not love later on, and you might not want to do that kind of content forever.
True.
The algorithm doesn't want you to do it forever.
The algorithm does not want you to do it.
Yeah, that's where so many variety channels over the years have struggled. It wants you to find that game, find that audience, and just make that.
Yeah.
And you see it with other channels. You see them find that and they stick with it forever. And then it's like, I wish the best to anybody who's trying to make a career out of content creation. It's not easy, but I would also caution, if you're out there and you're doing it probably because, like most people, you were kind of sick of the 9-to-5 grind. You wanted to do your own thing, be your own boss, whatever. Don't let the algorithm be your boss.
One of these days we should go over the finances of YouTube content creation. And,
that would be interesting.
Because it's not what people think. As much as I thought it was, it's not what people think.
It isn't. Well, it isn't at all. And it's funny because like people are like, oh my gosh, well, Mr. Beast made, I don't know, $100 million last year. His name did $100 million of business, and then he probably put $99 million into production and editing and actors and team and all this stuff. So on paper, sure, he made 100, but no, he made maybe a 1% of that himself.
Yeah,
it's totally different. So
and the ad revenue is just funny to me. I mean, it's just it's like, really? That's legit. You're actually trying to do that to people?
Yeah, it's an interesting realm. Ultimately, I think the dream should be that it lets you do what you want to do with your life, and you're happy doing it regardless of the money it makes.
Yeah.
Because that's where, people who start travel channels are trying to travel. And if it enables them to travel, even if they're not making any money after the fact, after all their expenses are paid, their business paid, they still got the traveling, still got that experience. So hopefully if you're in this game, you're not here for the money, because that's really, it's not what it looks like.
Yeah.
But you hopefully are unlocking the life you wanted to lead. And that's what I've gotten from my channel. I have been so happy and so blessed, and so many people have supported me so much that I've been able to do the things I want to do with my life instead of sitting behind a desk rotting away for the last 6 years.
Yeah. Now you're sitting in front of a camera rotting away.
Rotting away in good form. That was a lot for one question. Was there some other questions we didn't touch on?
We have another one from Shafedog here, and I can't wait to get to this one.
Okay,
but based on recent announcement that Sydney Sweeney is selling a line of soap that is made from her actual used bathwater, does that inspire any of you to sell your used bathwater or used articles of clothing? And I have an answer
for that for you. Is there a market for that for you, Assassin?
I've got a batch I just made for you, Shafedog. It's right here. The Assassin 32. Give it a shake so you can really see the contents on that.
Why is there so many floaters in it?
I spent 3 days going to Chipotle just to make this special batch for Shafedog. It's on its way.
Oh, man.
Available in 32-ounce size, 32-gallon size, and 320-gallon size.
If I dig hard enough, I think I actually have an address. Maybe you should get it in the mail before this episode drops and try and time it the same day and time he gets his package.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
It's a smooth sipping batch, I'll tell you that.
If you're only listening right now, definitely go to our YouTube channel so you can see the very not clear looking jar of bathwater.
We should get some special B-roll of that just for this moment. Well, I hope that answers Shafedog's question. Chili's94 hit us with the, is everyone still alive? Because we did have a little hiatus of the podcast. We're here, and you might notice it's a little more freeform. We're just trying something a little different. We're just having fun chatting and doing it this way. We're still going to hit the same things. We're still going to cover some news, some questions, some games, but we're just trying to do it a little more relaxed because all of us, we have busy lives. We're over here making content and pretending like we have real jobs, and it's not easy pretending. So
some people do have real jobs.
Some people have two real jobs. They just neither one of them pays them anything.
It is amazing what's happened. I'm skimming through just to make sure there's nothing else that we've missed lately, but we are back. We are on it. So if you want to come to the Discord, drop some questions there. We'll be a little bit better about answering them. I know Chili's also asked something about AI. I think we touched on that in another episode.
Yeah, we did.
So let's talk about some games and what we've been playing lately. Assassin, what have you got? Because I know what's on my list.
Yeah.
What's on your list today? You'll find it everywhere. Okay.
It's my standard list. That's the crazy thing. Even with these new games coming, I'll play them and I'll go back to the ones I love.
You got your classics.
Yeah. Real VR fishing, walkabout mini golf, Dungeons of Eternity. That's a lot of time for me.
Dungeons of Eternity is still going strong, huh? Because I don't hear anybody talk about that but you.
It's funny because you can go in there anytime and get a game with some really cool people and have a ton of fun. And they keep adding a little bit of DLC here and there, and making game adjustments and new fun things and new bad guys. Freaking love it. Yeah, just in case they want to sponsor anyone.
I played it in its early days and it was an absolute blast. It's one of those games. There's so many VR games like that for me. I'm like, this game, I'm going to come back and play this a bunch. And then I just never do. After launch, there's so much else to do and cover. I still feel so behind.
Yep.
Speaking of games, do we want to talk about the new... Did we already talk about the new D&D game? I don't remember.
We haven't, and obviously none of us have played it yet. Wink, wink. But for those of you out there who are totally lost on what we're even talking about, the makers of Demio, who is the biggest tabletop style, if you want to call it an RPG, board game, whatever you want to call it, dungeon crawling action, they partnered up with Wizards of the West Coast, who own the D&D official Dungeons and Dragons franchise, and are making an official game, not just VR, but primarily, at least first it seems to be VR forward, I would say.
Yeah.
That is inspired heavily by Demio. You can even see a lot of it, but it's going to be like Dungeons and Dragons / Demio with storyline and the characters you're used to in D&D, the creations from it, and it's called, holy crap, but strap on, people.
Yeah.
It is called
Strap
Demio X Battle Marked
Demio X Dungeons and Dragons
Battle Marked. It's a
Say it
heck
one more
of a
time.
name. No. So basically it's insinuating it's Demio and Dungeons and Dragons. Battle Marked is probably what it's going to end up getting called in the long run. And they have shown gameplay now, which hopefully is on the screen if someone did their job, their unpaid job, as we talked about earlier. and it's launching this year, by the end of the year. That's all we know officially.
Exciting.
And I am super stoked because I love Demio. I've tried some D&D in real life. It's not a big thing for me, but it depends on who your dungeon master is. It gets better at times, but I can't wait to get in and try this.
Yeah, it looks really good. Demio in general is just awesome. I don't know why I haven't done it very much. For some reason,
it's very involved.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
I tend to like games I can jump in for 20 minutes and jump out if I want to. And Demio's not that. You're kind of strapped in for a little while.
Yeah.
Hours.
Or strapped on.
Sometimes. It is, when you have 4 people and 4 headsets and you're trying to all play Demio together, it is the ultimate test of what kind of good head straps and batteries you have. Because by the boss, everyone's headset's dying. You're trying to swap batteries. Like, it is a labor of love to finish a campaign in person with your friends in it, but it's so good.
It is fun. We really should do it more often. But it's like, you have to like plan it. Yeah. And it is more fun when you do it, like when you get a group in person to play, even though like you're still in the headset, but like you can play it with pass through, so like you can, or AR version where like you see all the stuff, but you can like see your friends too. And it's just, for me, it's more fun that way. I'm a very social person, so I like that more than just jumping in the headset with people like far away. So, but yeah, it's a little more involved to set up.
It's funny on that subject. VR is the only gaming platform I've ever had where I want to play social games. I don't know why.
Interesting.
But my favorite games are all the ones where it's co-op or multiplayer social stuff.
VR is just hang out with people.
Good at that.
When you're in VR, because it feels a little more like real life. It's not where you just want to zone out and sit in a room and stare at shooting hookers in Grand Theft Auto for hours. You are trying to actually spend time with people like you do for real.
Yeah.
To be fair, I will sit there and shoot hookers in Grand Theft Auto for hours too, but
when GTA 6 comes out, we're gonna have to find some reason to talk about on the podcast, or there isn't gonna be a podcast for 6 months because Assassin and I are gonna be gone for sure.
I know that's all we're gonna be doing, and there's gonna be like texts back and forth going, "Could you believe what I just did to that hooker?"
Oh my gosh. We'll just record the podcast in GTA.
You just watch gameplay in the background while it's happening. Yeah. Well, we talked about a little bit of what Assassin's playing. We talked about what's coming. I have been doing a whole different thing with VR lately. I finally pushed myself to get back into Resident Evil 4, the remake, in VR. Not the Quest version, PSVR 2 version. That's the whole game with the new graphics, the new gameplay. And I have been loving it. And not only have I been loving this game, but it's been reigniting a lot of my passion for VR in general. Because as much as I love the Quest and how portable and easy it is, sometimes it's nice to only charge your freaking controllers and have the graphics of having a wired headset running to a powerful PS5 and have the games that you can get and the eye tracking that can make it look even better. And even though it's not the most comfortable headset in the world, it's lightweight. It doesn't weigh you down constantly. And most games you're playing, if you're sitting or if you're standing in place, the cable really isn't that bad if you've dealt with one before. It's just there. You're not, Resident Evil, you are slashing with a knife, you're pulling up guns, but you're not spinning around like you would in Pistol Whip or Beat Saber or some other game that's going to cause that cord to wind you up. And I have just been absolutely enjoying the crap out of that game lately while I do it.
So what do you think? What do you think got you ignited for PSVR 2 again? Do you think it's just Resident Evil 4 or is it more than that?
Well, you and I had played a little bit of Gran Turismo with the wheel. And it's the thing, every time I get the PSVR 2 on my head and I actually play something, I go, gosh, why don't I do this more? I need to spend more time doing this. And I think it's also, we got this new guy, Quinn, at the studio. So editor John got an employee. He's got so much going on with editing and stuff. He hired this kid, Quinn. And Quinn's a gamer. He's a flat gamer. He's a traditional gamer. He hasn't really tried VR yet, but having him around and him being curious about stuff and asking questions, and I wanted to show him some stuff, I was like, you know what? I finally got back in, and then I'm like blowing off all my responsibilities and stuff and just playing Resident Evil 4.
As it should be.
I think I've put in like, I mean, and this isn't going to sound that crazy, but I think I've probably put in 20 hours in the last week, which for me is quite a bit of time to just be playing one game, not even testing anything while I'm doing it. You know, like with the Quest, a lot of times I'm doing Demio because I'm testing battery life on head straps, or I'm playing games like Pistol Whip because I'm testing the comfort of head straps. With the PSVR, I don't really talk about much on the channel outside of a little bit of news and stuff, but I'm not like reviewing stuff for it. So there is no like way I can be like, oh, this is, you know, quote unquote work to go test this product or go do this. Like I'm gonna walk around. I'm literally walking away from all the things in my life I probably should be doing and just playing VR for fun again, which is a great feeling, honestly.
Yeah.
So tell me if you two agree with this, but doesn't it kind of seem like from January until the last month or so, like the whole VR world kind of did the same thing that you did with PlayStation VR 2? Like, didn't everybody just set it aside and do other things and touch grass and all that weird stuff? Like it doesn't it seem like everyone's coming back? Because I know I am. I went almost 3 months where I think I turned on my Quest a couple of times a month for 3 months. And now it's all I can think about again. It's where I should be.
Yeah. I don't know what it's funny because now is the time you think people be outside having fun, the weather, it's summer break. And yet instead we're all kind of like, it's time for VR again.
I feel like summer is a funny thing because it's just like, maybe it's because of it just makes us think of when we were a kid and it's like summer break, woo. Even those of us that, you know, don't get a summer break as adults, like you kind of have that in mind and then you're like thinking about all the things you want to do, even if it's not outside in the sun. So maybe that's why. But yeah, I think it does kind of seem like that. Like people are getting their excitement back for VR. And seeing you play Resident Evil made me want to get back into PSVR 2 also. And I actually really wanted to play Switchback because I hadn't played it in a long time. And when I first played it, it was a little rough. Like it was kind of like glitchy and stuff. And I was like, ugh. But I'm like, you know, at this point in time, I'm sure they've improved that. So I got back into it and it was really fun and so immersive. Like it's so interesting going into it after playing Quest 3 for so long, even though Quest 3 is great. It's like, man, like there are some things like PSVR 2 definitely has that mirror where it, you know, sometimes looks like you're looking through like a frosted glass or something. But when it's like the right like lighting and colors and stuff, you don't notice it at all. And the scale of things and the immersion is so good. And so anyway, so I had a lot of fun in Switchback. It really was actually freaking me out. Like I've played enough VR that I'm pretty good. Like if I'm in a scary, I mean, I guess I haven't played a lot of, but if I'm in a game, I can like pretty well be like, it's fine, like this isn't real, blah blah blah. But I was in there for a while and I was like, oh no. Like it is so immersive. Like you and like you're looking around and you really feel like you're in this freaky tunnel and the sound too, like you hear little like do 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 like behind you and you're like, oh my god, like oh so yeah, it was really great. Very scary. Definitely Switchback has some things where like you're like fighting a boss or whatever in a level and it's like gets a little tedious if you don't like win immediately. But I also want to talk about, and I think we've talked, maybe we haven't. Have we talked about Kayak VR?
No, but we need to touch on that here too, because it's also one of like the biggest, like most relaxing, one of the most beautiful games on PSVR 2 there is in existence.
Assassin, did you try Kayak VR?
Yeah, on PC.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of different games, but there's a Quest version, and there is the PC version. I have played the PC version. I think it's Kayak VR or the Mirage, or I don't. Yep. I might have messed up that, but yeah, I played it. It's good. It's a game I really wanted more people in there though. Like I wanted to kayak with other people and just kind of chat and kayak.
Oh,
it was weird to me to just paddle around and go, all right. Like
right. Yeah, I see that. And how did it look? Like, did you try both versions? PC
yes.
and okay. What was the difference between the two?
Yeah. Wow, Quest, it's just hard to describe how different it is from PC because I don't have a high-end PC. I've got like a 3080 graphics card and 32 gigs of RAM. And my PC, it looked beautiful. Like the PC version was absolutely stunning. And then the Quest version was rough. It was so rough. It was so blocky, and it just... It didn't look beautiful. There's no textures. The water didn't really react the way I wanted it to. It was rough.
Well, as of 8 months ago, they have added multiplayer to it.
Oh.
Although we have not tested that. We did just play some single player just to try it out. I hadn't been in it. I wanted to see what it was like. And it's so funny because everything on Reddit never says this is the most beautiful game. It's the most relaxing game. You're going to have the best time paddling around, looking at the beautiful sights. And I didn't know. I tried one of the storm levels, and it was like a freaking horror game. The waves are washing over my kayak. I feel like it's going to freaking crash. There's lightning. It's dark. I feel like I'm frantically trying to get to this island before
There's
I
a
drown.
dog barking in the distance.
Yeah.
You can't even hear the dog.
I was like, what is this? Like,
I
yes,
didn't know there was a storm level even.
There are relaxing games. There are relaxing parts of this game. But there are also parts, if you put people in it is frightening. And I think part of that is with PSVR 2, like I was saying, it's so lightweight. It's just, there's an immersion factor to not having a pound of crap on your head too. That is just so heavy and weighing you down all the time. Like you play it enough and you start to forget the headset's there. And it takes you to this whole other level. It's been the same thing with Resident Evil. I'm playing this thing for hours on end, and I don't have this horrible neck fatigue and this head fatigue. I am struggling with the sweet spot on the PSVR 2 being kind of small.
Oh, for sure. It is a pretty small sweet
You literally have to look right at text. You don't
Yeah.
turn your eyes to look at it, or it's just a mess. You gotta look straight at it.
True.
But it just reminds me that, like, you know, maybe some of this stuff with moving the compute stuff and adding a cable back, a short cable, maybe some of this isn't so bad.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love my Quest, I mean, with the Bobo VR strap that's comfortable, but then the battery pack on the back that helps balance it, you are talking nearly a pound of weight on that freaking headset by the end of it. And the PSV, it's also the audio.
When I first got a Quest, I remember like kind of my neck was a little stiff for a few days after I first got it. And it takes some getting used to.
Neck exercise.
What's funny is like when you try to compare the PSVR 2 and the Quest on anything, there's no way to do it, because they do the same thing in completely different ways.
Yeah, true.
You've got cord versus no cord, the need for a battery versus no need for a battery, Fresnel lenses versus pancake lenses on the Quest 3 anyway. Like they do the same things, but in such different ways that there's no way to quantify. I mean, I guess you can, you know, Quest, you're looking at $500, and PSVR 2, you're looking at like $350 these days, but you also have to buy a PlayStation 2 or a PlayStation 5.
PlayStation 2!
Can't do it on PS2. You can try it on PS2. It's just not going to work.
What's crazy, though, is the PSVR 1 was using the same controllers from the PS2. The same, those move wands.
Was that from PS2?
Were they from PS2 or PS3, maybe? But the iToy, I think the iToy itself was PS2, and that's where the camera idea came from for PSVR. And I think the move wands were PS3, and that's what then became the wands for PSVR.
Yeah, the iToy had like a card game, and you'd like set it up and it could like scan your cards or something.
The iToy thing was pretty cool, actually.
It's a wild history. But all that to say, I have been actually in love with VR again, and not so much on my Quest. I did try something on PC, and I dragged both of you into it too, though, on Quest. Attached to a PC.
Oh, yes. We got to talk about this. Yes.
It's not a game. There's an application called VNova that is trying to bring 6 Degrees of Freedom entertainment to the movie industry, to the world. And so unlike if you've ever watched a video in VR, what you might have noticed is if you tilt your head to the side or you move your head to the side, the whole video kind of nauseatingly moves with you, because it's filmed from a static camera that cannot capture the fact that if I lean around a corner in real life, I can look at what's around the corner. But with the camera that's in a fixed place in a VR, that corner cannot change perspective. No matter how much you lean your head, it's just going to make you feel sick. What VNova is trying to do is they are trying to make it so that filmmakers can use their tools, and you can move your head around in VR and look at things differently and still watch movies with a 360 perspective, but be able to see behind objects, see the real depth. And it is such, to me, it was such a different experience of multimedia, because we've seen a very few examples out there, and they've been very expensive examples to pull off. And so I tried this and I was like, wow, I have to get other people into this. And then I put Nat in it, and her reaction completely floored me. Do you want to talk about what you went through when you put it on?
Oh my gosh. I feel like such a hater. So I went in, and I think my experience was spoiled because there was something going on with the computer that was like attached to the headset that like made it glitch for me. So that was part of why it was a little bit of a different experience. But it was talking about, it was talking about what this was as it was showing you. So it first showed you, it was like a scene with like robots fighting or something, and it was showed you what usually we see, which is what Jay was talking about with like you move your head and then it's like nauseatingly moves with you and it's like "Bleh." And then it like whoop, immerses you and then is showing you like okay what this could be, which is you move your head and you're like looking at things from a different perspective. You can look all around as VR should be. Like short film kind of thing with robots, they're fighting, there's another robot coming in. It's changing perspectives, it's doing like close-ups, it's moving around, but you don't feel sick because of the way it does it. For me, I was being a complete hater because I was thinking like we should already be here. Like this should already be a thing. Why is it taking us so long to get here? We saw an amazing version of a live version of this years ago with the, and I think this is what you're referring to, Dave, the Joshua Bell, sorry. The Joshua Bell experience, the violinist Joshua Bell, where it was filmed this way where you can move around and it was like while he was playing this beautiful piece and it like sounds amazing, like you move and the sound changes, you move and like you change your perspective of what you're looking at. So anyway, I was being a hater and thinking this should be a thing, this should have already been a thing. Why don't we have like a million music videos in VR already? Anyway, me being a hater. Now, Assassin, you go.
Perfect. So I put it on and I had the exact opposite reaction. This literally to me was like the first time I put on a VR headset level of excitement. I lost it. There's fish that swim by and I kept having to resist reaching out and trying to touch those fish as they went by. And then for those of you that are watching right now on YouTube, the way it works is I've got my hand behind my microphone and I'm holding up a finger, but you can't see it. And then if you want, you can literally just look to the left or the right and you'll see my finger behind the object. It's there.
That's a great way to put that.
It was incredible. And I kept thinking of all the possibilities. And at one point, there's these robots fighting and they burst through a wall and there's like splintered wood coming at you that actually moves when you move. I loved it. It was literally like the first time in VR again. It's just so weird that we had such opposite reactions.
Yeah. Well, I think my thing also was like when you played a bunch of VR games, like these are all things that you already experience in playing games. So it's like you play a game, you already experience being able to move your head and see your finger behind that microphone or like duck when stuff's coming at you. So, and I know like it's a huge feat to be able to do this in like a movie or a video. It's so much work, but I think it was just the thing of like, I've experienced this before just in a game instead of a video. So again, me being a hater. But Jay, why don't you tell us more about your experience in it? Because you kind of just gave us the intro of what it was.
Well, it was actually, there's so many levels to touch on here, but one thing that I'll kind of bring up to defend the kind of the world of VR and the state of people that you show it to and a problem that comes in. So for those of you out there who are old enough that you started with Super Mario Bros. In 2D, like that was the first video game experience you remember, and then you tried Mario 64 and suddenly Mario was in a 3D world. He could run, jump, move any direction, and you go, oh my gosh, this is a revolution. This is a complete change in the world of gaming. Wow. Yeah. But then the people who start with Mario 64, they never played the old one. They think, well, he runs around a world. I run around a world. This is the same. You get this weird reaction sometimes when you show people VR. You get the ones who get the fact that this is crazy, that this is working. Yeah. And then you get the people who go, oh, how come when I put my hand in this object, it moves through this object? Like, why can't I feel this? Or they're expecting it to be real life.
Yeah.
And the name virtual reality almost betrays it in the sense that, well, it's still not reality. It's still so much is happening to make it mimic the real world. Mixed reality is a great example of this. The fact that like some programs now are experimenting with like you can shut a door and the mixed reality will react to that or now being a door there. And people go, well, of course it did. There's a door there. The headset had to compute that the room has changed and keep up with that.
Yeah.
But with VNova, when I put it on, there's different experiences. There's the intro that gives you a little preview of everything. There's this music video that you can watch in it. And then there's this robot fighting scene. And then there's also this
I want to see the music video. I didn't watch that yet. Anyway, go ahead. There's
this like shark documentary. It's the only thing that's paid. So this is totally free. I probably should have said that earlier. If you have Steam, you have PC VR, just go get VNova and try the free experiences on it, see what you think. And if you want to, you can pay $4 for the Shark Karma one, which is more interesting, a little more plot line. But ultimately, even just the intro, I feel like is worth doing just to see what this technology works like. I actually had a bit of a hard time with the robot fight. There was a very weird, there was a weird triggering moment for me. It was so realistic, and the perspective of watching these robots fight. I'm going to try not to spoil much here, but just be warned. I'm going to have to talk a little bit about what happens in it. So you get the idea that this robot's in this house with his robot kid, and this other robot comes in and starts attacking the dad, and it's a bigger robot, stronger, it's got more arms, it's more powerful. But there was this weird moment where the big robot is just kicking the crap out of the smaller robot, and the child comes in and tries to intercede. The child robot walks in the room with something and tries to help. And even talking about this is kind of fucking me up a little bit. There was this weird parallel of this bigger thing, this bigger adult figure attacking the smaller adult figure, and the child trying to do something about it and stop him, and the child gets hurt too. And it was almost touching on this weird domestic feeling in my brain. And the fact that I'm in the room and it's so immersive the way they've built this multimedia, it just reminds me how powerful the media can actually be that you're watching, and even how dangerous if they're a little reckless with the implementation of it.
Yeah.
Because it's you're not just watching a TV and seeing something. I was in the room wanting to help too, wanting to stop this altercation from happening, watching this child try to step in, watching the child get hurt. And it was wow, the whole experience just floored me to a degree of I haven't felt this kind of realism in VR in a long time. I haven't felt this much emotion in something in a long time. And I came out of it whoa, I didn't want to spoil anything. I hand the headset to Nat, and then she's standing there just talking crap about it the whole time. I was what the? I was I'm the one.
If I had been less hatery and actually paying attention, I probably would have had a big emotional reaction to that, because I wasn't even perceiving it as robot dad and robot kid at all. Because I was just bah, bah, bah. This should have already been a thing for us. Bah, bah, bah.
Okay, so you want to know what's funny? I mean, there's a lot of psychology behind this, because Jay went right for the emotion of the tense situation, right? Neither Nat or I did, but she went towards the technologically whatever, and I went technologically, this is fucking nuts. So three totally separate emotions on the same video that we all three watched. So I mean, there's something that it says about us, because for me, I didn't even realize that it was the robot dad and the robot kid. I just thought they introduced the robot kid so they could show us the thing of, hey, you can look behind the big thing and see the small thing. So it's so funny. I got to watch it again from Jay's perspective and see if I catch any of the emotion, because I didn't in the beginning. I'm soulless.
I think part of that, if you had just been watching it and they hadn't been talking about the technology, I think I would have gotten there if they hadn't been talking about the technology. But I think Jay was able to kind of get immersed, even though they were talking about how it all works and stuff. So
I watched
it
all
makes
three.
me feel less soulless.
I watched all three. So the intro, they're talking and it shows bits of it. Next, if you watch, or if you're listening to this, maybe go start with the robot one. Skip the intro, skip the technology, jump into the robot one and see how you feel emotionally about it. It's 6 minutes long total. And then maybe go back to the intro and get the explaining of what was happening technologically behind the scenes.
Did I only watch the intro?
I think so, because it's 6 minutes long.
Oh, okay. Then I feel a lot less soulless. Okay.
But some of the parts show in the intro still, but they are talking about it while they're doing it. Where if you just watch the robot one, it's this 6 minute kind of cinematic storytelling of what the heck is happening in this robot world. And I actually am wanting to go back and watch it all again and kind of pick it apart a little further, look for the plot. But overall, the whole experience was so much that I was like, I need to get everybody else around me to watch this too. And that's the part of VR that a lot of us miss. Like, how often is there a game so good you go grab your friends and shove them in a headset these days?
Yeah.
It's what we all used to do all the time. But now it's got to be like something big for me to be like, I have to show this to someone else.
The thing is, I'm still doing it. I mean, I recently did it with Maestro, a game that everybody in the world on Quest downloaded the free demo and never played it. And then finally, I decided I wanted to play it, and I was blown away. And then the next thing you know, I'm telling everybody on Discord, you got to try it. You got to try it. And it's just funny because Shafedog actually questioned, hey, has anybody played this Maestro thing? I just did the demo and it seems pretty good. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea. Like, keep playing. It's awesome. And this is conducting an orchestra, something that doesn't really appeal to me in real life in any way, but I cannot wait for everyone else. As a matter of fact, today we were going to record this episode all together in the same place. And I was going to bring my Quest so Nat could try Maestro.
I really need to play it. I still have not yet.
I think you'd lose your mind.
It sounds right up my alley.
Or you would just go, this technology is lame. Whatever.
It depends if I'm in a hater mood or not, apparently.
Like, this is terrible. Well, that's what we've been up to in VR lately. What have you been up to out there? Come join the Discord, talk to us there, comment on the YouTube video, let us know what you're up to. There's a new giveaway we just talked about with Asterion. You got to enter in. There's lots of stuff going on out there. Apparently, there's some bathwater. The first beta sampling is going to be sent out for testing. And if this is a success, if Shafedog enjoys this, however one enjoys use bathwater, I don't really know. If they enjoy, maybe this is a pilot program to in mass bathwater being sold. I feel like, what's her name? Bell something pioneered this whole thing. No, Sweeney. Before her.
Oh,
there's a gamer girl that did this. That's the only reason Sydney
Gamer
Sweeney's
girl
considering
bathwater.
it.
I think the gamer girl was like farting in a jar too and selling the fart. Like, that's incredible to me.
Oh man, there's
her
a weird
gassy
world.
Managers over in the corner filling jars for her, and you're buying it.
I was just reading an article about how like all these people are buying things they think are from the person, and it's some companies just manufacturing the crap and sending it out.
It never is from the person, ever.
This time it is, Shafe. This is real used bathwater. You can DNA test this if you don't believe it, and make sure.
I'll work on a special peanut butter batch for you if you want me to.
The first ever episode being marked explicit. But no, come share with us. Tell us what you're up to. What's getting you excited? Or are you kind of still in that mode where you're just not really doing the VR? The headset's sitting there collecting dust, and now the Quest 4 is even further away. Are you going to get back in? We'd love to know. But once again, we just want to say a huge thank you. It's been, 5 years of the podcast-ish.
Wow.
A long time.
I've seen every episode.
You're probably the only person who's maybe if one of you's out there, tell us, but I think you're the only one who's literally watched every single episode. But give us suggestions for what you want in the future. We're kind of changing it up. We're just relaxing it a bit, just having more fun. We might be recording in person. We're trying to build an in-person studio where the three of us can sit around a table and be chatting to each other. And that'll be a whole other realm. Maybe we'll bring in other guests from the outside. Maybe we'll bring in some of you in person to the studio. Tell us what you want to see, what you want to do. You just have to fly all the way to Oregon. That's the only downside to that. But once again, if you've been thinking about VR, or if you have had a VR and you just haven't been in it, maybe it's finally time.
Go on in.